Hello, this is Janet Michael. In addition to hosting The Valley Today each weekday at noon on the River 95.3, I also produce podcasts, and I'm excited to introduce you to a new podcast series in partnership with Lord Fairfax Community College. Having provided higher education and career training for the past half-century, LFCC is tightly interwoven into the fabric of the Northern Shenandoah Valley and Piedmont regions. Join me every week for conversations with current and former students to hear their funny and inspiring stories as we learn about their journey to higher education, the role that LFCC has played, where they are now, and where they plan to go. We'll also talk to current and former professors about their experiences and best memories of LFCC over the past 50 years. Get every single episode as they're released on our website at theriver953.com under the podcast tab, or you can subscribe for free in Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, on Spotify, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just search for LFCC Stories. Hello and welcome to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday as you are listening to the show today. We, of course, have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen. We are chatting today with Dr. Chuck Bishop. He is the superintendent at Clarke County Public Schools. And Dr. Bishop, I joked with you when we first met each other on the Zoom screen and asked if you felt like you were 25 years older since we last spoke just a few short months ago.
I might not look like it, but I feel like it. It has been a long, trying year for everybody involved.
Well, and I was thinking about this morning. I was looking at my calendar to see what I had on the schedule, and I kept thinking, it seems like it's been 2 or 3 years since I talked to him last, but it's only been a few months.
I remember talking with you, obviously, but I couldn't tell you if it was 3 months ago or 9 months ago at this point.
Yeah, we're going to have to reinstitute calendar learning, I think, across all of the school systems across the country so that we get back on track for how we keep track of our days and our hours.
Right.
So give me a quick overview. What is the current situation for Clarke County Public Schools? Are you guys hybrid? Are you in person? Are you virtual? Kind of give me a rundown of what's going on now.
Sure. No, we started the year September 8th with our elementary students in a hybrid model. We have honored every request, pre-K 12 for those who want to learn virtually. So we started the year September 8th with our elementary students who wanted to be in a hybrid model in school 2 days a week. And our middle and high schoolers started virtually. Mid-November, we transitioned to have our middle and high school students in a hybrid model for those who chose that option. And we've continued that until now. On February 22nd, the Clarke County School Board approved a transition plan to add more days a week. There's 3 phases to that. The first one actually began yesterday or March 15th. Where our English language learners and our students identified as receiving special education services came back to 4 days a week. April 5th, which is the first Monday after our spring break, we will have our K-6 hybrid students come back 4 days a week. And then April 12th, grades 7 to 12 come back 4 days a week. As I said, we're continuing to honor those who wish to learn virtually. We have sent out 3 separate surveys to find out, one to our ELL SPED population, one to our hybrid families, and one to our virtual families to find out who wants to come back for 4 days. Or they could choose at this point in the year to revert to a virtual program if they still didn't feel quite comfortable. So that's our current status now. Yesterday, other than a few little hiccups with transportation, we were in a good place with our ELL and our SPED population coming back. And we look forward to having our K-6 learners back on April 5th and then our 7-12 on April 12th. Part of the challenge has been with the social distancing that's still required, or the physical distancing that's still required. We are going from 6 feet to 3 feet. Which is the recommendation from the American Academy of Pediatrics. We will not be able to accommodate every student or every family who wants their children back in school in a hybrid model because of that 3 feet or that 3 foot requirement. So we'll have to tell some folks no, that they're going to have to maintain the virtual environment for the rest of the school year.
What kind of feedback, what kind of response did you get when you send out these surveys? I know from a business perspective, you send out surveys to your customers and to your staff, and if you get back 10%, you're very, very lucky. Do you have a high response rate from parents letting you know what they'd like to do?
We did. We have heard kind of the cry over the last several months. Our hybrid model had gone well. When we brought our middle and high school students back, it went well. And we were having parents begin to say, when can we get more? When can we get more? So we had a large response. And we're looking forward to moving forward. It's required us to do a lot of behind the scenes work that a lot of folks aren't familiar with. We've had to revise transportation in some cases to still limit the number of passengers on a bus. We've had to look at the number of siblings on a bus because they can share a seat. We had to we're in the process still of reloading classrooms with furniture. At the beginning of the year, back last summer, we stripped our classrooms with all non-essential furniture and then left the number of student desks that were going to be needed to accommodate those in-person learners. So now we're reloading classrooms with furniture to make sure that we're ready when students return. So it's been a lot of work behind the scenes, and it's almost like starting the school year over, but not really. We had an overwhelming response, and even with our virtual survey that we sent out a week ago, we've had a lot of parents of our virtual learners. Had 88 responses yesterday morning. Now that's over 100 students who were represented in those 88 responses. All of those individuals hope that their child will have an opportunity to return to a hybrid or to a 4-day-a-week environment.
And you mentioned a minute ago spring break. That's going to be a traditional spring break. There's no virtual learning. You're not going to have to log in and do anything. You are truly free for
Right.
spring break.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to need a break, and we certainly had some snow days, particularly in the month of February, some inclement weather days, but we did have some synchronous and asynchronous learning that took place over those inclement weather days. So this will be a true spring break where people staff and students and families alike can walk away from the computer, can not worry about 2 days a week of in-person learning, and have a little time to relax for a few days.
I remember when we got our first snowstorm, and there was a lot of confusion and a lot of discussion around a real snow day with no school whatsoever, or transitioning to virtual learning for that day. Do you think that in the future, in 2022, that snow days will look a little different because you have this virtual option now?
Well, I think they could, and what's happened as a result of everything that we've gone through in the last year is there was some legislation that was proposed and passed in the General Assembly this session that just ended just a few weeks ago to allow inclement weather days to count toward the number of days of 180 or the 990 clock hours, 180 days or the 990 clock hours. So I think you'll see some divisions maybe have some online learning, whether it's synchronous or asynchronous. We're not to the point. I think kids need to be kids sometimes, and a good old-fashioned snow day is not a bad thing. The fresh air and the exercise can do everybody well.
I think we all need to recharge our batteries, regardless of how old or young we are.
Right.
So do you foresee this school year ending in mid-June as it would traditionally? Is it going to end sooner? Is it going to have to go longer because of how we've had to learn over the last year?
Our last day is mid-June right now. I don't anticipate that we will have to add any days or shorten the year at all. We are still in a good place in terms of the number of clock hours of instruction here in Clarke County that we need in order to meet the state requirements. Our school year typically ends during the first week of June, but not starting till September 8th this year, the day after Labor Day, to buy ourselves some more time to prepare for what's been a really unusual year. We had to slide back another 10 days or so. So I don't anticipate any addition to the year at this point, at least.
And what about summer school? Have you offered summer school classes in years past? Will you be able to do that this year?
We've had a summer school program in our two elementary schools in the 7 years that I've been here. We generally have had a new course at our high school. We allow students to take PE 9 or 10 in the summer, and we've not offered anything at the middle school, again, in my tenure here in Clarke, 7 years. This year, things will look much different. We know we have some students who have not fared well academically. So we plan to have a robust summer school in all of our buildings, both our two elementary buildings, our middle school, and just earlier this morning, I had a meeting that lasted a little over an hour about our summer school program at the high school. So we're in the process of gathering information, what the summer school is going to look like. I can tell you the large part of the summer school will take place the month of July 5th through 29th. Our PE 9 and 10 summer school will start on June 21st and go through July 16th. So the July summer school will basically be for remedial work. Students who might need to earn credits at the high school toward graduation, who might need some credit recovery opportunities in order to take an SOL test to get a verified credit. We're working through that now, but we do plan to have a summer school program in all 4 of our buildings for the coming summer.
I see a lot on the news on a national level, the concern over testing scores and how far some students are going to be behind because the virtual world wasn't really great for them individually. Are you concerned, or do you have any idea what kind of testing and scores you're looking at now?
Well, this year's testing program, the state and the federal government are handling things differently. The state has said that accreditation for this year will be suspended. So we didn't have accreditation during the 1920 school year as the pandemic came on in March. So our last accreditation status is from the 1819 school year. So for state purposes, the SOL testing wouldn't even be required. What we have learned, though, to date is that the federal government has said that they are not planning to suspend the testing program to meet their purposes. So we will have to report out in certain sciences, math, and reading and writing for federal purposes only.
And hopefully they make some adjustments to whatever those test results come back based on what the actual situation was.
Right.
But you probably won't know that till it's done.
Exactly. At this point, we don't have enough information to even make an educated guess about how that might look moving forward. But we get little snippets of information as it's available to our state superintendent and his staff. So that's been one of the positives of the pandemic has been the communication from the state level, from the Department of Education to school divisions has been outstanding. From last March until this morning, we had a conference call at 10:30. Most Tuesday mornings, the conference call is actually at 8:30 with the state superintendent and various members of his staff to update us on a variety of things related to the pandemic and how any changes that might need to be made.
Well, let's take a quick break. When we come back, can we talk athletics, football, baseball, all of the fun sports that all the parents, I'm sure, are excited about? The student athletes are wondering. And can you give me an update on where we are with all of that?
I absolutely will.
Okay, we are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our conversation on the Zoom screen with Dr. Chuck Bishop. He is the superintendent at Clarke County Public Schools. We're going to get an update on athletics and what the next school year might look like. I'm going to make him drag his crystal ball out of the closet. So stay tuned. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes.
Got a financial decision to make or a goal to reach, but you don't know where to start? You've come to the right place. Introducing Quick Money Chats with the Northern Shenandoah Valley Financial Education Program. Visit tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat to schedule a virtual chat with a staff member or trained volunteer. We won't tell you what to do, but we will give you the tools you need to choose wisely. And because Virginia Cooperative Extension is part of Virginia Tech and Virginia State, your land-grant universities, you can be sure that our information is credible and trustworthy. And you'll know that we aren't trying to sell you something. Maybe you want to improve your credit score, or reduce your banking overdraft fees, or even figure out if you can afford to buy that car. Sorting through tons of information on the internet can be overwhelming, and sometimes it can be hard to know who to trust. Schedule a quick money chat and get the information you need to take action. Go to tinyurl.com/quickmoneychat and get financial education personalized for you.
Welcome back to the Valley today. I am your host, Janet Michael. Happy Monday. As you are listening to the show today, we have pre-recorded our conversation on the Zoom screen with Dr. Chuck Bishop. He is the superintendent at Clarke County Public Schools. Dr. Bishop, in the first segment, we talked a little bit about what the current model of school is, when you're going to be expanding to more days in person in the classroom. What's the current status of athletics? Is there going to be a football season, a baseball season, soccer? What can we expect?
So Clarke County was one of the first school divisions in the Commonwealth to have out-of-season practices. We actually started in late June. We worked together with our athletic director, with the Virginia High School League guidelines, and began having students come in for workouts in late June. It went incredibly well. Kids needed something to do. Coaches, without being paid, were showing up 3-4 days a week to work with kids on our football team and basketball teams, and cross country was out there for a while, and baseball had a few workouts. So we were one of the first in the state to do that. We continued that through the fall. And then the winter sports season started, and we had boys and girls basketball and wrestling, which went incredibly well, no issues. We have had a recent outbreak at Clarke County High School of COVID related to some off-campus gatherings that occurred. So our football team, our golf team, are currently, and our volleyball teams are all currently not participating and will not resume practice or participation until next Monday. Our cross-country team has been able to continue as of yesterday. We're able to resume workouts. We started working on this early Thursday morning, about 6 a.m. I started working on this current situation, and it's continued for the last 5-6 days. But you know, it has gone well. Our current situation at the high school with some of our students had nothing to do with participation in athletics. It had everything to do with off-campus gatherings, and you know, in my communication with the health department over the last several months, that seems to be the case. It's not school transmission; it's outside of school transmission that is the problem. Schools are some of the safest places in our communities because of our mitigation strategies, and those strategies have carried over our athletes. And you know, they're masked when they're on the bench. They have health screenings when they arrive at practice. You know, sanitizing. Even in basketball, they would come off the court, hand sanitize before they went back on the court. They would hand sanitize before they went back on. So the protocols that are in place from the high school league down to the school divisions, and they're implemented here locally by our coaches, it went beautifully. And then again, we've had the issue we're currently dealing with because of the off-campus activities and nothing to do with school. But moving forward, we hope to resume our volleyball, golf, and football seasons on Monday with our practices and then games thereafter. We look forward to our spring sports with track and field and soccer and softball and baseball. And we anticipate that those will happen without any issues. So we've participated in the VHSL seasons as they've been aligned for this year. And our kids are getting to compete in 60% of their contest, which is the new guideline for the current year. And again, it's just gone really well until recently.
And you mentioned the Virginia High School League. When they set out their guidelines, are you required as a school system to go with what they say? Is it a suggestion? Where is their power to enforce anything?
Well, as members of the Virginia High School League, you're bound to their policies and guidelines, and they are good practice. And I know the Sports Medicine Committee from the Virginia High School League had recommendations and guidelines to be followed in communication with the health department, the local health departments, the state health department, the governor's office. So it's good practice, and school divisions. I can tell you that my oldest daughter is a basketball player at Clarke County High School, and even at away games, we weren't able to attend away contest, but there are protocols in place that have to be followed even in away games. So the partnerships between schools to ensure that our kids have an opportunity to participate and to compete has been probably better than cooperation has ever been. Among sister schools. So again, it's going really well.
I would imagine, as a baseball mom, I would imagine there were probably more parents asking you about when is XYZ season going to start, more so than when can you get my kid back in a classroom?
Well, it's interesting because there were some school divisions across the Commonwealth who had students playing sports prior to having kids in class. And I think, some of our state leaders began to frown on that a little bit. Our kids were participating in athletics, but we got them in school pretty quickly. And every community is different, and the threshold that somebody's willing to cross to make sure athletics happen is different in each community. And again, through cooperation with our local health department, who has been outstanding. And working through this whole thing. Dr. Green always tells me it's risk versus reward. There will be some inherent risk of having more people gather in a school, but what is the reward for kids having in-person instruction? And what is the risk level you're willing to take?
And kudos to your coaches. Did you say a second ago, a lot of your coaches showed up to do practices and they weren't even being paid, but they just wanted to be there with their student athletes?
Absolutely. Yeah. Our coaches were outstanding, and they were coming 3-4 days a week from late June. Basketball practice started, I guess the winter season sometime about, we actually delayed our start here, competition start, but they started practicing mid to late November. So from basically June until November, coaches pretty much volunteered their time to work with our student athletes.
Kudos to them. So let's skip ahead. Let's drag your crystal ball out of the closet. Do you think, school's going to start in the fall? We know that's a given, regardless, now that we've learned how to do it either way. Are you hopeful that we're all in a classroom 5 days a week? What are your hopes for the upcoming school year?
We are planning for a more traditional school year, 5 days in-person learning. Our school year, our calendar's been adopted for the first student day would be August 31st. And we are very hopeful that we'll be able to start school more typically and more normal than we did back in September. I do believe that there will still be some protocols and safety measures that we'll have to take. We've been really fortunate here. We've worked with the health department and Valley Health to have our folks have 3 opportunities to receive COVID vaccine. It was voluntary. And Clarke County has we're just shy of 70% of our folks who were vaccinated, most at the clinic that we hosted at Clarke County High School. There are some folks who continue to get vaccine at other locations, and we do have to rely on them to self-report that when they get it, because I don't have access to those medical records. So we could be a little over 70% at this point, but the vast majority of our folks took advantage of either the clinic that we offered or have participated in one of the clinics in partnership with Valley Health and Shenandoah University. So we're really fortunate to have had that partnership and to get our teachers and other staff members, at least give them the opportunity to be vaccinated. So if my crystal ball is not that clear yet, but I know how badly kids need to be in school. I know how much they need athletics and the social interaction and all of the things that academics are certainly important, but there's a lot of other things that happen in school that's really good for kids.
Do you see any way that, if we get back to a more traditional way of going to school, is there an option for parents who really have latched on to this virtual way of doing it? Is that just going to go away and in person is going to be the only option? Or do you think that you may incorporate some small pieces of virtual outside of, say, a snow day?
Well, I mean, there could be some pieces, but our plan is right now to not offer virtual learning in the future. We do have some internet challenges in our community, and it wouldn't be a program that was open to all students because of that. And we certainly don't want to have a program that's open to some and not others, or an offering that's open to some and not others. So our plan is to have in-person learning. We think there's some value in that, and if we need to go to a virtual environment at any point, whether it's due to inclement weather or for some other reason, one of these variants, COVID variants, that we have to deal with, we have some experience with it now. It hasn't been perfect, and it's been a great challenge for all of us, but we have some experience in dealing with it. So any tweak that we might make moving forward in a virtual environment would not be nearly the level of work that we had to put into it to get it started. So, but our goal is to have 100% in-person learning for the 21-22 school year.
I feel a little bad for the kids though, because if there is some random crazy thing, say one of the elementary schools or the middle school has the air conditioning unit breaks down, or something happens to the pipes in that particular school, these kids aren't going to necessarily now going to get this free day off because there's another option now. So I kind of feel a little bad for the kids these days.
I mean, the only saving grace might be that we wouldn't be able to pivot that quickly. If the air conditioning went down on a Monday afternoon, to expect teachers to be ready. I mean, this is a different way of teaching. I've heard some folks say, well, teachers aren't doing much right now. They're teaching virtually or whatever. Our teachers are working as hard as they ever have, if not harder.
Oh, yeah.
The types of things they are doing are different. Our middle and high school teachers right now have concurrent learners. They have kids physically seated in their classrooms, and they might have another 10 students who are participating virtually. They don't teach us how to do that in education school, in teacher school. So it's been very different. Teachers, for folks who have been critical of teachers' workload, I can assure you that teachers are working as hard, if not harder, than they ever have.
And in my opinion, should be paid twice as much as what any teacher I know is getting. So kudos, and yes, thank a teacher. That's the big thing.
Right.
Well, Dr. Bishop, thank you for taking some time out of your day to have this conversation with me. I appreciate the update.
No problem, Janet. Thank you for having me. I hope it's not, several months. If you need another update, give me a call. We don't have to talk like every 6 months or so.
That works. I am going to wrap up our conversation today with Dr. Chuck Bishop. He is the superintendent at Clarke County Public Schools. We will be back tomorrow. It is Tourism Tuesday, Winchester Frederick County edition. So that means Justin Kearns is meeting me on the Zoom screen. I'm sure everybody missed him in February. He sadly was suffering from COVID, but I understand he is back. So we are going to have a conversation with him tomorrow. Meet me back here tomorrow, just a few minutes after noon.